What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, Joey Wright and John Luke. What's up, boys?
What up?
What's going on? Looking forward to the draft this weekend coming up.
No one tell him. Joey might be in trouble. Today's game of Jeopardy is very heavily reliant on the draft, and joining us to probably take Joey to school is our great friend, Dane Martinez. For those of you that do not know Dane and his handsome face down there on the screen, you can find him on Twitter at Spittin' Speeds. That is Speeds with a Z at the end of it. He is helping you win some cash over at FTM Bets, and you may know him as the Spittin' Statistician. Dane, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, my friend.
Nah, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it. Let's chop it up. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Absolutely. And we got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Craig down here said, someone call Kenny Loggins. It looks like FYF is headed into the danger zone today.
Oh,
pretty good, Craig. Pretty good. We got Dustin in here. What's up, Dustin? Welcome in. So back home from the draft, back rooting for hashtag Team Joey.
Can't wait to let you down today, Dustin.
Can't wait to hear about your time in Kansas City, my friend. That's awesome that you got to go out there for that. We got Victor in here.
Fun.
With the happy Monday, bro, Chachos. Smash that like button. What's up, Victor? Appreciate you coming in, my friend. Victor. Albert over here with the hello, everyone. What's up? And we got Grimfan in here said, I think Joey means the WWE draft.
I don't. I think that was going on last weekend too.
Before the show, when I was putting together the Jeopardy board, and I put the names at the bottom, it just said Dane and Joey before I put JL's name in there. And I was just looking at that thing like, does that not sound like a pair of wrestlers like Dane and Joey entering the arena?
Tag team champions of the world, baby.
Dane and Joey.
We got Jay in here says, what's up, FYFers? Welcome back, Dane. What's up, Jay? Welcome in, my friend. We got Scampers in the chat. What's up, Scampers? Our favorite chat cat. And Scott Fish down here said, I'm rooting for Joey to finish top 3 today.
Joey's always on top.
We got Dame in the chat with the howdy, fellas. What's up, Dame?
Howdy, Dame.
And Grim fan said, bring on the sandwiches. Uh-oh, there are no sandwiches yet again in this game of Jeopardy. And Dustin wants to know the ever-important question, did Simon get a haircut or just a ponytail?
That's a stallion tail.
It's just
ponytail.
It's just a ponytail.
Like
the haircut's coming on Wednesday. But there will still be enough hair to put in a ponytail after that. Well, guys, we brought Dane here today to play some Fantasy Football Jeopardy with us. We've got a special edition focused pretty heavily on the NFL draft that happened this weekend. Before we get into that, though, a couple of reminders for everybody. First and foremost, if you're not already following our friend Dane on Twitter, you need to fix that right this instant.
Do it.
He's on Twitter at Spittin' Speeds. You can find the link below this video in our YouTube description. We'll put it in that chat as well in our YouTube. So make sure you're following him on Twitter at Spittin' Speeds and check out his work over at FTN Bets if you like winning some cash. He's helping you do that every single day. After you do that, if you're watching our video on our YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to make sure you don't miss us at our new old time for the Fantasy Football Game Show every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. You guys ready to get into our game of Jeopardy?
I can't wait to get into our game of Jeopardy today. I'm glad that you called it our game and not your game, because it is our game. It's everyone's game.
It's everyone's game of Jeopardy, except
not my game.
Except for J Hell. It is not Sale's game of Jeopardy.
I don't know if it's my game just yet. Maybe it will be.
He's like, I gotta see. I gotta dip my toes in first.
We got Ladarius in here. Said, good afternoon to you all today. What's up, Ladarius? Welcome in, my friend.
What up, Ladarius?
And before we get into our game, Grin fan had a question for us.
Okay.
Wanted to know, what do you think of the Bills signing of Latavius Murray does to the running game? And how much of the run game do you think he would receive in regards to his general fantasy value? So, Dane, whenever you look at this Latavius Murray addition to the Bills team, what does that do for the fantasy landscape of running backs there for you?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot, if you want to know the truth. But here's one thing I do think is really important about this is I think he profiles to pretty much just be a goal line back, right? However, in my opinion, the current goal line back for the Buffalo Bills is Josh Allen, right? So if any impact, I think it could decrease the amount of rushing touchdowns for Josh Allen. So I don't think it impacts the running back room in Buffalo as much, especially from fantasy. But I do think it's something to consider when you're figuring out where Josh Allen works in your quarterback rankings, because his rushing touchdowns down by the goal line was certainly something you would factor in. That's where I think the impact would be, if anything.
And Scott Fish, kind of echoing what you were saying, a little tongue-in-cheek, saying they simply needed a goal line back.
Yeah.
P.S. I'm joking to scare people, but agrees with speed up here. Agrees with speed on that thing.
I need my invite to Scotty Fish. What are we up to? 13, 14? Let's go.
13?
I'm sorry, inbox, all the Scott. Invites have gone out.
They've already been sent. Damn it.
Every one of them.
JL, do you agree with Dane here?
Yeah, I do. I do agree with Dane. I think that Josh Allen's rushing touchdowns were going to go down regardless of the Latavius Murray signing, right? We were going to see that with Damian Harris. Damian Harris is a fantastic running back. Mm-hmm. We saw him in New England. He was efficient. He was a fantastic runner on the ground. Handsome. Yeah, I got a handsome. Yeah, he was the whole package. So, yeah, I think this whole entire Buffalo backfield is definitely the power is going to shift. We're going to see a shift. I think everybody's going to be maybe a little disappointed. They're all just going to end up in that real lukewarm water where it's disappointing.
We love some disappointing lukewarm water. Well, guys, we're going to talk a lot more about some of the signings that happened during the draft, maybe some of the trades, and some of the draft picks themselves throughout this game. I'm going to explain the rules, explain the categories, and then we're going to get started. The game today is Fantasy Football Jeopardy. It's a lot like the popular TV show, but with our NFL/fantasy football twist. Most of these questions are about the NFL or fantasy, except for the ones that are not. On your turn, you're going to select which category and which value that you would like to answer. Get that right. You're going to add that money to your score. Get it wrong. We're not subtracting anything. We're going to go in turn order as opposed to buzzing in like the normal Jeopardy. There's one other change in the rules to our game compared to the normal game of Jeopardy, though. If you get your question right, so Dane, you're going to go first here. You're going to have free reign of the board. If you get that question right, you get to send Joey to whichever one of these categories you want to send him to. Okay. He'll still get to pick the value, but you get to pick the category. We'll go through the entire game like this till we run out of time or run out of questions, at which point we'll move into Final Jeopardy. I'll give you the category. You guys are going to write down a wager. This is the only point in the game where you can lose money. Get the last question right. You're going to add that money to the score. Get it wrong, we will subtract it. Whoever has the most money at the end of that question is our Fantasy Jeopardy champion. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yep. Let's go.
Let's do this. Here are your categories for today's game. We've got, may I ask who's calling? This is going to be all about who drafted a specific player, who gave them that call on draft night. I'll tell you the player. You tell me the team that drafted him. Easy as 1, 2, 3. It's a classic category where I ask you to rank things, but these are all going to be the order in which players were drafted. I'm going to give you 3 players. You put them in order of the earliest drafted to the latest drafted during the 2023 NFL draft. Grab bag, anything. There could be anything in that category. General draft trivia. This is just some trivia about this year's draft. Things that didn't quite fit neatly into the other category. Some stuff that you ought to know. Maybe some stuff that you shouldn't. And then we've got the other sports. While the draft was going on this weekend, it's an awesome time for sports, man. There's a lot of other stuff going on across other leagues. So we are going to ask you if you know about what's been going on across the other sports that are not the NFL. Dane, you've got free reign of the board. You get to pick your category and value amount. Where would you like to start?
All right, we'll go. We'll start at the top. We'll go. May I ask who's calling? And let's do right in the middle. Let's go for 300.
May I ask who's calling for 300? Here's your first question. Dalton Kincaid, Utah, tight end. Who drafted Dalton Kincaid?
That was the Buffalo Bills. Do I have to do it like a form of a question or something? Who are the Buffalo Bills?
Who are the Buffalo Bills?
Do it in the form of a haiku.
Buffalo Bills, yay. Drafted Dalton Kincaid. Huh? Dawson Knox, poo-poo.
That was beautiful. I want to give you extra points for the haiku,
points.
Dane. You get 300 points for getting that. And before we move on from that, I did want to ask you guys about this landing spot. You mentioned Dawson Knox, poo-poo. Do you believe that? Do you think his fantasy value is gone with the drafting of Dalton Kincaid?
Pretty much. I mean, they go out and grab Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid is that pass-catching tight end. You saw it at Utah. And I like Dawson Knox, right? He was kind of that, I don't know, tight end 12 to 15, kind of maybe serviceable in bye weeks. And now I don't think that's the case, right? And it's even harder because in this offense, you already know that the tight end, whether it's Kincaid or whether it's Knox, is pretty much the third or fourth option anyway, right? So now that they're even maybe splitting some of those targets, I think it does really sink Dawson Knox. I'm interested to see how they use Kincaid, though, for sure.
Joey, I see Grimfan down here asking, do you guys see Knox being traded now? Do you think there's anything to that, or there's a reason to have two of these tight ends on this team and maybe it's just not good news for fantasy?
No, I just think it's good news for fantasy for Dawson Knox. I don't think he's going to leave the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills like him a lot. I like his skill set fits in really well. As far as Kincaid, I believe they're going to utilize him like a slot receiver, and I'm pretty adamant about not expecting a tight end to perform when they're a rookie. Usually takes about 3 years,
Right.
but Kincaid is someone I think you can draft, and he might actually be able to contribute this year. My buddy Jeff Bell called him a cheat code this year at the tight end position. So,
yeah, if you can get some of those slot snaps for a tight end, it is a little bit of a cheat code of that position. Dane, that's going to give you an early lead, 300 to 0, and you get to pick Joey's next category. You get to send him wherever you want on this board. Where do you want to send Joey?
Joey, pick among the easy as 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna make you have to rank. This way, it's harder. You got to get them all right. So I figure that's the most complex one. So take a swipe at it.
Big brain.
I'll go 300, please.
300, staying right in the middle. Put these players in order of the first drafted to last drafted in the 2023 NFL Draft: Kendre Miller, Deuce Vaughn, and Israel Abanikanda.
ACB.
ACB, final answer? Joey, you are absolutely correct. It is ACB. Kendre Miller first, Israel Abanikanda second, Deuce Vaughn third. That's going to earn you $300. You got it immediately. Deuce. And Joey, it felt like this was like the running back landing spot apocalypse at some points during the draft. Like it felt like running backs people get excited about, you just get dumped off on. Are you excited about any of these landing spots or really bummed about any of these landing spots?
I don't mind Kendre Miller. I will say Deuce Vaughn, like the Cowboys didn't really do anything else. I heard earlier this week they're probably going to sign Ezekiel Elliott back. I believe it was a conversation we were having on draft night, the FYF guys. It makes a lot of sense that Zeke would come back to Dallas now, but Deuce Vaughn could get some work there if they don't bring him back. But yeah, Izzy, I was sad to see him go. I believe he went to the Jets. I don't think he has a path to much playing time there right now.
Yeah, that's the one I was probably the most disappointed by. It was a guy that I started liking late in the process, and then he's just buried. He's buried behind Bijan on the Jets. There's not much hope for him to get too much work over there.
Deuce Vaughn is the number one running back in our hearts, though.
Yeah, how cool was that? How cool was that phone call from his dad, though?
That was pretty awesome. Ladarius down here with ACB.
Nice.
Got it.
Nice job. Nice job. Dane, are there any of these landing spots that you have excitement for? Do you agree with Joey that it could be exciting for Deuce Vaughn?
So interestingly enough, I am a Jets fan, and I don't necessarily think that Izzy is buried. I think it's a different kind of role, the third down back, the pass catching back out of the backfield. And I think that's really interesting. You know, Breece Hall coming back from the knee injury. They've had Michael Carter in that role in the last couple of years, had a rotation of other guys towards the second half of last year. I think it is interesting in PPR formats as a third down back. I think Izzy has some interest. He's a guy I'm going to keep an eye on come training camp preseason to see if they're utilizing him in that way.
That is interesting. I feel like I was so scarred by the Jets backup running back hype with LaMichael Pirine that I just immediately get like turned off by the Jets backup running back hype trains. That one hurt me, man. I drafted him everywhere. I was in on Pirine.
Listen, but as a Jets fan, I hope it's really just Breece Hall and more of Breece Hall, and that he's in fact a top 10 running back in fantasy this year, because that would mean that he's breaking out, and that would mean the game script for the Jets are in our favor if we're giving him the rock in the second half.
And my apologies. I'm realizing I said Bijan Robinson a moment ago whenever I meant to say Breece Hall there.
Hall.
Dustin coming in here saying it's Abanikanda, not Ibanaconda, and we are going to fire our spell checker immediately after this show.
They're already fired.
They're fired. Nah, you sent the text, JL?
I sent the text.
We fire all employees over text. It's how we run our business here.
It's policy. It's policy. It's our mission, actually.
It's our mission. Joey, that's going to earn you $300. You confidently got that one. And you get to pick JL's next category. Where do you want to send him?
So this is really rude, but I know Jello was really busy this last weekend, so I'm going to send him to the other sport because I don't think he watched much in other sports.
Honestly,
Isn't that rude?
I'm probably just as equipped as answering some of these draft questions because I was checking in and out because I was at a wedding. But yeah, let's go for it. Other sports, let's go 100.
Other sports 100. Before we get into that, though, you got some love for the haiku from Mr. Scampers down here. Dane said, "Crush the haiku." Legit dope. Fantasy take too.
Thank you. We do what we can.
Sad Knox manager.
And Grim Fan has been calling for months now for the Jets to win the Super Bowl this year. They've been saying it's coming this year. It's coming this year. I think
they
like
got
the
a
day
shot.
after. I think the day after the Super Bowl this past year, they said, "Write it down now." Grim Fan calling the Jets win it all.
Well, they better. Because no, listen, honestly, the one part I don't like about the Aaron Rodgers trade is that 2024 draft pick, which probably becomes a first-round pick. And I got to tell you the truth, I am a long-standing Jets fan and a long-standing New Yorker, so I'm cynical, I'm skeptical at first, right? And I'm worried about him playing well, the Jets being good, but then still like losing at Kansas City, at Buffalo, at Cincinnati, somewhere in the AFC playoffs. And then all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah, I'm going to go do some mushrooms and some ayahuasca. Peace, I'm out. And then we're still back at the same exact place and then don't have a first round pick and are relying with, Zach Wilson under the tutelage of Aaron Rodgers. That's not the situation I want to be, right? So if it works like it did for Tom Brady, if it works like it did for the Rams and Stafford, then hey, I'm with it, right? But I don't know if that's what I think is the most likely outcome.
But you're worried about Rodgers turning the Jets
worried about that
ayahuasca
den
with Zach
Yes,
Wilson.
so I'm worried about the New York media asking him about 9/11 conspiracy theories and stuff like that. The circus will come to town. He is clearly the best quarterback we've ever had in franchise history. But there's a lot of other stuff that comes
Whoa. Joe Flacco was there last year. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah, sure. And I wax poetic about the Chad Pennington days as well, but hey.
60 passes a game, Joe Flacco. Put some respect on his name. All right. Well, JL, you selected the other sports for 100. Not feeling confident in that category. Here is your first question. While you were busy watching the NFL draft, you got lucky. Other NFL stuff was going on. Tight end Adam Troutman was traded from the New Orleans Saints to which NFL team to reunite with his former coach, Sean Payton? The Denver Broncos, the Green Bay Packers, or the Houston Texans?
Let's go with the Broncos. Feeling lucky.
This is the Broncos.
Yeah.
And that may have been the only one that was related to the NFL, just not the NFL draft. John Luke, you got that one right. Going to give you $100. And Adam Troutman was a tight end that I bought into heavily when he came into the league. It never quite panned out, and people have forgotten, so no one holds me accountable because with rookie tight ends, no one can hold you accountable for 3 years.
That's the rule.
But I want to know from you, is there hope for a resurgence here in Denver, or is this just the depth ad with a coach he's familiar with?
It's probably just the depth ad with a coach he's familiar with. I think I put Adam Troutman in that Cameron Brate realm, which, yeah, sure, he has the upside to get some big plays. When we'll see that, Lord knows. But one day he has the athletic ability to do it, and I think that he can. I don't think he'll be able to do it in a sustained way. I think there's far too many mouths to feed on that offense in Denver.
Dane, do you have any more optimism for Adam Troutman, or feeling similarly to JL?
I am feeling relatively similar there. I think this will all be about kind of Russell Wilson's development with these receivers on the outside in Denver, and really about the recovery of Javonte Williams. He, I think, is going to be the biggest linchpin for that offense if he can come back kind of 100% and really have that breakout that a lot of people expected last year.
Joey, is this doom and gloom for Greg Dulcich, or can I calm down?
I think it's doom and gloom for Albert O. I could see Albert O getting cut or traded pretty quickly. Yeah. Dulcich, I think he proved everything that he needed to last year, that he has a role in this team this year. So I don't mind Dulcich at all, but Albert O, he might be on the move.
See ya. Well, JL, you got that one correct, which means you're going to get to pick Dane's next category. Where do you want to send Dane?
Send Dane. You know what? Let's send Dane a general draft category or trivia. What's that one about?
Just general draft trivia.
All right. Let's do it for 300.
300. Rank these conferences in order of most number of selections in the 2023 NFL draft. The Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the ACC.
I do not think I'm going to get this one correct, but I am going to go with, I'm going to go ACB.
ACB, final answer?
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Well, you would be absolutely correct. Big Ten was by far in the lead there out of these three, followed by the ACC at 32 and the Pac-12 relatively close.
Well,
at
you
27.
confused those up.
Yeah, it is ACB.
Oh, I
It
just
is
put the
ACB.
wrong letter.
ACB.
Yeah.
You are
Okay.
correct. You are
I'm
correct.
correct
It
then
is,
in the answer. Okay.
Nice.
it is Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12. Again, our spell check must have messed something up here. And
Thank
Hey,
God
I got it
that's
right,
gone.
so I don't care. It's all
In the
good.
chat-
Don't fire anyone over text. I got it right. It's all good.
But they're already fired. It's too late.
we even sent the
There's
facts.
no takes backs.
The
Yeah.
chat did not get this one. So, Dane, you were the only one that got this one correct. Nice job.
I
You
think
beat the chat.
I think I know why the chat did not get this right. We have a very dedicated West Coast fan base. So that Pac-12, like they were putting a little more love on that Pac-12 than they deserve to have.
And then we got
Regional.
there was a lot of ACC love in the answers as well after the Pac-12 love. So maybe the
Oh, no,
Clemson
no,
bias
no.
on the show is doing that. Dane, that's going to earn you another $300 and put you in the lead. Where do you want to send Joey for his next question?
Let's go back to that easy as 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to clear that out because I don't think I will do well in that category. So we'll clear that out and we'll have Joey go back to that one.
Joey, you are Dane's easy as 1, 2, 3 battering ram. Which section of this wall would you like to take down next?
I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says that.
Send me one. Too.
I will go
It's a really
200.
long t-shirt.
200.
It's going to go down the sleeves.
Go all the way down to his ankles.
Gonna wear it in
200,
the swimming
Joey, is
pool.
that what you said?
200, please.
Put these players in order of first drafted to last drafted in the 2023 NFL Draft. Will Levis, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jackson Smith, and Jigba.
CBA.
CBA, final answer?
Collective bargaining agreement. Yeah.
I am sorry, Joey. It was BCA. Jahmyr Gibbs
Oh,
was the
Gibbs
12th
went before
overall pick.
Yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba was pick 20. Will Levis, the second pick of that second round down there at pick number
Why did I think they
33.
went with him with 9? Oh, Seattle, you're constantly making me upset. Go ahead.
Joey, what did you think about the Lions pick of Jahmyr Gibbs from an NFL standpoint? And then whenever we're talking fantasy for Gibbs.
I hated it. And then 36 hours they traded Swift and I was okay with it. I think he's an uber talented running back and he's going to fit into whatever the Lions got going on there with all those yards and touchdowns they're getting really, really well. So I like the pick a lot for both NFL and for fantasy. I think Gibbs could be looking at around 235 total touches. The Lions offense had 529 total touches that went to the running backs last year. So I think Gibbs could be a big part of that. He's still going to have to deal with David Montgomery, but it should be fine. Running back 2/flex, like low end running back 2.
Dane, I've seen the hype get to the point where people are putting him in the same tier as Bijan Robinson because of this landing spot, but it seems to be polarizing. What's your temperature check on Jahmyr Gibbs in like a dynasty rookie draft?
He would be below Bijan in my opinion, because also last year the Lions backfield with that Swift and Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams was the goal line the vulture of all the touchdowns, right? And I think that's the role Montgomery is going to play. So I think Gibbs is actually going to wind up having less touchdowns. I think he'll be used a lot more between the 20s. But another thing we've seen is this Detroit Lions offense is a passing offense these days, right? And so I don't know that he's going to get as many touches as Bijan in Atlanta. I think in Atlanta, Arthur Smith, they're going to use him, they're going to use him for good 300 carries this year. I think it's more likely that Bijan would be the kind of bell cow, and I don't think Gibbs would be. So he would be beneath Bijan for me for sure.
Yeah. Something you brought up there. And then the type of offense they run there, the passing attack there. If Jahmyr Gibbs gets involved in that passing game in a significant way, maybe that's where we see his value bump up a bit. John Luke, I wanted to ask you a little bit about JSN landing there in Seattle, because it seems like a confusing landing spot for fantasy. There were landing spots where you would have been more immediately excited, but Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf sitting there. Is there any value year one, you think, for a receiver like JSN?
Yeah, Seattle's a weird landing spot in the sense that it's not one of the, it doesn't immediately feel good, like you said. But it's an offense that consistently passes a lot. And I want to see, as Tyler Lockett continues to get older, I can see them just working JSN just naturally right into that spot, right next to DK Metcalf. And if they're able to get with Geno, just get Geno going and get him going long term or get a solution in there long term, I think this is going to, in the long term, end up being a great spot for JSN.
Geno Smith came out like a champ in this draft. Like he's got to be smiling at the end of this one. It looks pretty good for him. So I'm excited for him, and I'm excited for JSN. It may not be the fastest start fantasy wise, but I do think it's an overall good landing spot. You got the points for that one. Oh, no, you didn't. You got it wrong. So you don't get any points for that, Joey. And JL has free reign of the board. JL, you get to go wherever you want now because Joey got that wrong. Mamma mia, what question would you like?
Let's go with grab bag for 300.
Grab bag for 300. What is the first name of Mrs. Maisel in the TV show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? Is it Beatrice? Is it Esther? Or is it Miriam?
Oh, I watched like one episode of that a long time ago. Beatrice Maisel, Esther Maisel, Miriam Maisel. I'm going to go with Miriam Maisel seems too on the nose. I'm going to go with Esther.
Final answer?
Yes.
It is so on the nose. It is Miriam Maisel. Her name is Miriam JL.
Of course it's on the nose. The freaking name of the show is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah, the alliteration in the title of the show. The chat mostly getting this one with Ladarius, Grim, and Michael all saying Miriam, and Scampers saying Marvin. So close.
Mrs. Marvin Maisel.
Ladarius saying one of my favorite shows. I think it might be my girlfriend's #1 favorite show. And
really, is that good?
I've been watching it with her recently. It's so good. It's phenomenal. Dane, have you watched it at all?
I have not. I cannot say that I have. I would have guessed Miriam, though. I think the alliteration is where they were going there, especially with the Marvelous. So my knee-jerk reaction would have been Miriam, but hey.
That would have been smart. JL. That would have been smart.
Yeah, JL. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, John Luke, you got that one wrong, and it is Dane's turn. Dane, you got free reign of the board. Where do you want to go, my friend?
Sure. Let's go the other sports. And let's be a little more conservative this time. No, let's be conservative. Let's go 200.
200.
Yeah.
While you were busy watching the NFL draft, the NBA playoffs were going on. Which team is the #1 seed in the Western Conference? The Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Lakers, or the Oklahoma City Thunder?
That is the Denver Nuggets. They are the one seed out west. Yes, that is my final answer.
That is correct. It is the Denver Nuggets. Nice job, Dane. Going to throw an extra 200 on there. With the other sports questions, especially with guests, the difficulty range on them can vary so broadly because like the easiest question in the world for someone who even like follows the NBA,
right,
could be like next to impossible for somebody who hasn't turned on a game in 3 years. But you got that one right, Dane. $200 more going into you got lucky. Where are you going to send Joey now?
You know where I'm sending Joey. We're going to easy as 1, 2, 3 for Joey.
Joey.
$1 value.
Joey's going
400.
Also, the chat was all over this one with Nuggets. Dustin with Denver, and Grim saying this year's champs. Joey took easy as 1, 2, 3 for 400. Joey, put these players in order of first drafted to last drafted in the 2023 NFL draft. Rashee Rice, Puka Nacua, and Jalen Hyatt.
ACB.
ACB, final answer?
Mm-hmm.
Joey, that is absolutely correct. ACB. Rashee Rice drafted 55th overall. Jalen Hyatt at 73. And Puka Nacua 177 overall. Joey, do you think there's going to be excitement around Rashee Rice like there is around seemingly every offensive player that the Chiefs wide receivers or that the Chiefs draft?
So, I mean, initially, I think Rashee Rice gets drafted and you're like, yes, Chiefs, lots of passes, Mahomes. And then you think outside of Hill and Kelsey, he's never really favorited one wide receiver. Now, Rashee Rice could change that, but I just see Patrick Mahomes spreading around a little bit more. I really like Rashee Rice in best ball because there's going to be a few games this year where Rashee Rice breaks away, takes one for 70 yards down the field. It's going to happen a few times this year. And I want him in best ball for those leagues.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you there. I bought into the Sky Moore experiment last year, and I learned some lessons about how that Chiefs offense is going to run after the first couple weeks. Patrick Mahomes didn't lie to us when he said it's going to be a different guy every week, and he'll probably say the same thing again this year. The one on this list that hurt my feelings the most was Jalen Hyatt. As a Browns fan, I really wanted Jalen Hyatt, and then for him to go the pick before and us to draft his teammate was just like excited for Cedric Tillman. I think Cedric Tillman's a great player, but Hyatt going to the Giants,
You
I thought
would have
that was
wanted Hyatt.
phenomenal pick. Dane, do you have rookie year excitement for Hyatt there, or do you think this is more of a long-term play?
It's hard. You guys were alluding to it with tight ends. It's hard to get a wide receiver to just, hit the ground running. We have seen more and more do that recently, but these have been kind of the first round obvious studs and Justin Jeffersons of the world. And in that offense, I do believe it is still going to be led mostly by Saquon Barkley. And I think similar to the Chiefs, but not at that same high level, I call it a fantasy herd, where they're all kind of together, and you never know on any one given week who's going to pop off. So moderate excitement, but I don't know that I'm investing an early round pick on.
The herd sounds like the wide receiver version of our tight end glob.
Yep, just the herd. Yep,
the herd, the glob. We can just start putting them into different types of collections. It's a murder of crows or ravens or something, and a gaggle of geese, and a herd of wide receivers, and a glob of tight ends. Scamper said the Chiefs are the antithesis of the Steelers when it comes to drafting wide receivers, and I believe I said that word wrong. Antithesis sounds a lot more right than antithesis. Couldn't quite piece that one together in real time. All right. Well, you got that one right, Joey, which means you get to pick John Luke's next category. Where are you sending him?
Grab bag.
Grab bag.
Let's go 200.
200 and grab bag. In Finding Nemo, how many white stripes does Nemo have on his body?
Man.
Not the fins.
This is rude.
2, 3, or 4. Final answer, Jay?
2. Yeah.
That was confident.
Sorry, it is 3. 1, 2, 3. He's got 3 white stripes. John Luke.
Dang it.
I missed the white stripes.
I apologize.
Finding Nemo stripes.
Your homework is to go and watch Finding Nemo after this show, Jay.
Oh, thank you. I've watched that so many times in my life.
And then you can catch up on the stuff that you missed in other sports this weekend. The chat was all over this one. Scampers was watching that movie Hungry the whole time. We got Michael with 3 in here as well, and Ladarius with the 3. Nice job. Dane, JL gifted you free reign of the board. Where do you want to go here?
Let's go back to the other sports. Let's go back to the other sports, and let's go to 300.
And Joey should have 600 here, right? Or was that?
Oh, that might impact my choice. No, I'm lying. It's all good.
Joey, what value did you do? You did 400?
I got 400 right. I missed the 200 one.
So you should have 700.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, Dane. Where are you going again?
All good. Other sports. Other sports for 3, please.
Other sports for 3. While you were busy watching the NFL draft, the NHL playoffs are happening. Which team advanced past the first round of the playoffs for the first time since 2004 by defeating the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games? Was it the Colorado Avalanche, the Vegas Golden Knights, or the Toronto Maple Leafs?
That is the Toronto Maple Leafs, who finally get out of the first round.
Finally out of the first round after 6 consecutive years with first round exits and not making it past the first round since 2004. The Maple Leafs move on. That's going to earn you $300, Dane, and you get to pick Joey's next category. Where do you want to send Joey?
Do I even need to say? He's just telling you for 500. He knows where I'm going. So just, easy as 1, 2, 3.
Also, the chat knew this one, Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs, and we got Leafs from Dustin as well. Nice job, guys. Our chat does watch hockey, I feel like. We got a hockey watch.
We do have a good hockey contingency. We should start doing fantasy hockey.
Why?
I shook my head. It was a joke, JL. You say, Joe, you need to be funnier on the show. I say a joke, and you're like, why? No, it's...
For some reason, JL's visceral reaction to hockey every time just cracks me up. Like it's not even on purpose. Just hockey gets brought up, and like the face changes. Like, I'm out. I can't handle this. Too cold or something. Joey, here's your question for 500. Put these players in order of first drafted to last drafted in the 2023 NFL Draft. Hendon Hooker, Chad Ryland, and Stetson Bennett.
Oh, I don't know where Chad Ryland was taken. Oh, farts. I'm going to go... BAC? No, wait. Hooker was taken. Yeah, I'm going to go BAC.
BAC, final answer?
Was a kicker taken before Hooker? Oh, God, yeah. I think I'm wrong. Go ahead.
So BAC, is that what you're locking in, Joey?
Yeah.
I am sorry. It was ABC, the order it was presented in. The double trick on the 500. A kicker was not taken before Hendon
Why are
Hooker,
you
but
asking me
was-
damn kicker questions? Seriously.
Because the
Like,
Patriots
you went
took a
pretty
kicker
high.
pretty high in the draft. It
pretty
was
high.
notable.
It's
It was
fine.
notable. Joey,
It's fine. Yeah.
you know what? Actually, I'm going to give you a second to recover
Went before
here.
that quarterback.
I
I'd
was
like
going
to
to
talk
say,
about Chad Ryland if I could for a minute.
while you gather your thoughts on Chad Ryland, Dane, there are reports coming out of the Rams believe they got a steal in the 4th round with Stetson Bennett. Of course, every team thinks their players are a steal. Do you think they have a legitimate plan to develop him behind Stafford?
Maybe, right? Like, I do think it's interesting that both with another Georgia quarterback, right? Like Stafford was. So maybe there's some kind of connection there, the kind of tutelage. But to me, Stetson Bennett profiles as one of these quarterbacks who had a great situation in college, had everything work out for him in college, but I don't know what he's going to look like at the next level. I mean, it's possible, but there are, every team is littered with kind of backup quarterbacks that had great college careers. So I don't know that I'm holding my breath and waiting for this. I also think the Rams are kind of, in their cycle, they're kind of trending downward. So by the time it gets to Stetson Bennett maybe taking over that job, I don't know, outside of Cooper Kupp, I don't know how prolific that offense is going to be and what's going to be around them.
Yeah, that makes sense. It gives hopeful Aaron Murray vibes that never quite panned out. And it's probably just because it's another Georgia game manager
Kyle
style
Trask out there, that kind of stuff,
Hey,
Yeah.
the jury's still out on track.
Coming
Okay.
from the Bucs.
Sure.
Joey, how do you feel about this landing spot for Hendon Hooker getting to learn behind Jared Goff there in Detroit?
So here's the thing. Hendon Hooker, everybody knows I was pretty adamant. I wanted him to come to the Buccaneers. He's going to have to sit for at least.
But there was Kyle Trask there. What are you talking about? Why
I know,
does he
right?
need to go to Tampa?
I'm thinking Hooker's going to have to sit for at least 2 years because Jared Goff, he did everything he needed to do to win this job last year. Hooker's coming off that injury, so we do know he's going to sit at least 1 year before he even sniffs the field. So I like it for him a couple years down the road. If you're a dynasty manager and you can wait it out, please do so. But I don't think he's fantasy relevant for at least a couple years.
Michael,
it's a great offense to be in, though, once that time comes, though.
That's fair.
We got Michael in the chat says nothing says trending downward like being excited about Stetson Bennett. That's
Exactly.
It's a pretty fair point.
Oh,
well,
man.
Joey, unfortunately, you got that one wrong, which means it is John Luke's turn. And
Did
JL,
I go?
The board is yours. You did. Yeah, there was an
Board is
objectively right
mine.
answer, and you said a different one. So I'm going to go with, yeah, I was wrong. Chael, where do you want to go, my friend?
Let's go with grab bag 400.
Nerd. Here we go. In which month does Oktoberfest in Germany begin? August, September, October.
Shoot.
This is the greatest $400 troll question if it's one.
I don't know, which makes this tough. I'm gonna go with shoot. Let's go with September.
Final answer?
Yep.
John Luke, you are
Let's
correct.
go.
Starts
Nicely
in
done.
the middle
Nicely
of
done.
September and ends in October. I believe it started September 16th this year. That's going to earn you $400, and you escaped probably one of my favorite questions I've ever put in here. Just
I would have
because
lost it if it was
the
October.
amount of
I would have lost
overthinking.
I had no idea.
The chat was
Honestly,
all
had no
over the
idea.
place. The Scamper said August. Grimfan said November. One Nation Underground was September. Grimfan also coming in with September. Nice job, everybody. And
Nice
Well,
job.
Darius
Scamper
said
Nice
April.
job,
We're not sure why.
said
April.
Well, JL, you got that one right, which means you get to pick Dane's next category. Where are you sending Dane?
All right, let's send Dane to easy as 1, 2, 3.
That's fair. That's fair.
Fair.
I'm not mad though. It's the easiest question, so maybe I got a shot.
Well, here it is.
Thanks to Joey who cleared out all the other stuff.
After Joey cleared it, put these players in order of first drafted to last drafted in the 2023 NFL Draft. Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud.
So they went 1, 2, 4. And so Young went 1, Stroud went 2, and AR went 4. So my answer is B, C, A.
BCA is absolutely correct. 1, 2, and 4. You
Nice.
even got the numbers in there. That's going to earn you $100 and extend your lead a little bit. Dane, before we move on to the next question, out of those 3 quarterbacks, which are you most excited for with the like landing spot talent combo?
Yeah, so it's interesting when you talk about the landing spot talent combo, right? I'm excited the most for Anthony Richardson because I think that's where it's the highest ceiling, right? You know, that coach that came over, worked with Jalen Hurts, maybe can do some of the same things with Richardson. He also has the ability to, you know, turn the ball and hand it off to Jonathan Taylor if he wants to, right? Which I think is something that these other quarterbacks don't really have. I think it's a longer road to hoe for the Carolina and the Houston offense, to be sure. And while I think there will be some really, really ugly pieces of Anthony Richardson, especially to start, I think the ceiling is the highest there.
Scampers in here saying, go Panthers. I love that Bryce Young is going to be the greatest QB of all time. So that's what they're excited for. Joey, I know you were excited about Anthony Richardson throughout the draft process. So I'm guessing you agree here with Dane.
He is my number 1 dynasty quarterback as well. Everything Dane said. I mean, the fact that he gets that Colts coach that fostered Herbert and Jalen Hurts, that's really exciting. And I love the weapons he has around him. I do love when a rookie quarterback or like a first-year quarterback coming into the system gets a good slot receiver to build upon as like a safety blanket. And with Josh Downs there now, like everything just looks really good for him. I was really upset with CJ Stroud, like, and not necessarily where he landed, but that they did nothing to protect the offensive, to get an offensive lineman or a wide receiver in that draft. So he's kind of throwing to nothing, and he's got really a whole lot of nothing to protect him.
What do you mean nothing? They got Nico Collins and John Mechie, right?
And Robert Woods, who was dynamic last year in Tennessee. Sorry, I love Robert Woods too. I love Bobby Trees, but Stroud was my number 1 quarterback coming into this draft, and he's down to 3rd now.
Yeah. Well, Dane, you got that question right, which means you get to pick Joey's next category. And the wall's been broken down. There's no more easy as 1, 2, 3 left. Where are you going to send him now?
You know, it is so wide open what grab bag could be, so that kind of scares me. So I'm going to give you a grab bag.
500.
Joey's going for 5. It looks like. Which of the following types of Oreos did I make up? Sriracha, root beer float, waffles and syrup, wasabi, kettle corn, or hot chicken wing?
Hot chicken wing.
Just one?
One of these is made up. The other 5 have all been sold. Oh,
hot chicken wing.
Final answer?
Yep.
I'm sorry, it is sriracha. There's never been a sriracha Oreo, but all of the others have been released. Hot chicken wing and wasabi were released for a limited time at the same time.
I felt like sriracha and hot chicken wing were kind of the same thing, so I was 50-50 between those two.
I tried to put like 3 spices and 3 sweets in there, and I desperately want to try the waffles and syrup one so bad.
Ooh, I feel like there's waffles and syrup flavored everything now. Oh boy, I gotta come back here.
Grim fan getting this one right. The only person in the chat. Nice job. Scamper's saying wasabi is the one that I knew was real. Yeah, they make wasabi everything. Wasabi Kit Kats, wasabi Oreos, wasabi.
So the only people that bought that were the people that like attached their identity to their freaking Oreos flavor.
Or pulling pranks.
This is mint. It's totally mint. Trust me.
Right. Like what color filling are all of them? Also, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, you get some real appetizing fillings in the middle of those cookies with some of those goes neon green.
Scott Fish, I'm gonna make a sriracha Oreo right now. Can I call an audible? If he does it, can we bring him up to have him eat it?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. You can come.
If you do it, Scott, you can come up and eat it.
Also, Grimfan said, I think it's chicken and waffles. There is a separate chicken and waffles Oreo, but there is also a waffles and syrup Oreo.
Double down on it.
They got both those flavors that have gone out at some point. Joey, unfortunately, that was wrong, which means, Joe, you got free reign of the board. Where do you want to go?
All right, let's go to general draft trivia for 400.
General draft trivia for 400. Who was the 4th wide receiver drafted in the 2023 NFL draft? Was it Zay Flowers, Jonathan Mingo, or Jordan Addison?
Addison.
Final answer?
Yeah.
That is absolutely correct, JL. Jordan Addison was 4th. I thought maybe that stretch of wide receivers in the first round could get a little confusing, but you saw right through it. The order was JSN, Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, and then Jordan Addison, 4th there to Minnesota. Going to earn you $400, and you get to pick Dane's next category.
Ooh, all right. Let's send Dane to. May I ask who's calling?
May I ask who's calling?
All right. Let's do it for 200.
200. Before we do that, those scampers in the chat getting that one. And Dustin saying Addison will be a bust, calling it now, which is almost sacrilege on fantasy Twitter. Dane, where do you land on Jordan Addison? Are you as hyped as fantasy Twitter seems to be about him? Are you as down on him as Dustin, or maybe living somewhere in the middle?
I'm living somewhere in the middle. I think all four of those wide receivers that kind of went, 4 in a row. We were talking about it with JSN earlier, right? I think they're going to take some time to get their footing, but a year or two from now, I'll be very interested. So in dynasty leagues, I'm cool with Addison. I mean, going into USC, he was like, top recruit, top of all these lists, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. So I am heartened by all four of them, to be quite honest.
Heartened by all four. Yeah, Dustin, take that negativity and shove it up the Bills. He's just mad that they got Bills. It was the nicest thing I could think to say to him in that moment.
It's pretty good.
Well, who got that one right? My brain stopped working for a moment.
Dane did. No, Dane got he said 200.
No, my board,
ask who's calling. Yeah,
that's right. Dane is may I ask who's calling for 200.
Yeah.
Will Anderson Jr., Alabama linebacker. Who drafted Will Anderson Jr.?
The Houston Texans traded up to get him back to back at the top at number 3, Houston.
They did, and I was losing it. What'd you think about that move, Dane? Back-to-back picks in the top 3?
Yeah, that was wild to me. 2 things on this. One, it is obvious that DeMeco Ryans, the new head coach there, is being given the keys to the car to kind of put his stamp on it, right? And that's why you go get that top defensive player on the board there at number 3. And I was a little bit upset, though, because I did have a draft ticket in thinking that Houston may have gone Stroud at 2 and then JSN at 12, kind of keeping that Ohio State crew together. That's what I thought was going to happen. I may have had tickets on it. So then when they made that trade up, I was like, oh, well, that ain't going to happen. But overall, I think it's a good move for Houston as they look to kind of change and establish a culture under DeMeco Ryans.
Oh, that would have been pretty sick, though. That would have been pretty sick to reconnect.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be. Stroud at 2 and Jackson at 12.
And as like a storyliney and wild as this was, it would have fit in with this draft. Well, you got that one right, Dane. Adding another $200 to your round bank. The chat was all over this one. Ladarius getting it. One Nation Underground. Grim fan as well. And Dustin too. Nice job, my friends. Dane, where do you want to send Joey?
All right. I got to start working some strategy here. So I can't give Joey the chance to get too much gaining on us. So we're going grab bag for Joey.
Joey gets the 100 and grab bag. Are you ready?
Yep.
Percy Jackson, who is able to control existing water and create water out of thin air, is the son of which Greek god of the seas? Poseidon, the Flying Dutchman, or Aquaman?
Poseidon? I have no idea.
Final answer?
Yeah.
That is correct. It is Poseidon. Fun fact, neither the Flying Dutchman or Aquaman are actually Greek gods.
Huh.
So the only acceptable answer would have been Poseidon. Nice job, Joey. That's going to earn you $100, and you get to pick Jail's next category.
I like that guy that plays Aquaman.
Joey said, I'm out of here after that one.
Joey left.
He said, that's enough. What, Jason Momoa?
Yeah, that guy.
Is that it? You like him?
Yeah.
There was a guy on Big Brother.
And Entourage played Aquaman too,
Oh, true.
We just got all these Aquamans running around. There was a guy from Big Brother who looked like Aquaman, but he was the worst. The absolute worst.
Are you talking about Adam?
I forget his first name. No, he had the long hair, the Jason Momoa lookalike. No,
yeah.
Not a lot of tattoos. Go ahead.
Okay, then we're talking about somebody else then. We're talking about somebody else.
Okay, then that's a great story. You guys ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jail, you got that one, or Joey got that one correct, which means you get to pick Jail's next category.
I'm going to send JL. Can I see the categories?
Yeah, they're up.
My computer's lagging. Sorry. I'm going to send JL to General Draft Trivia.
John Luke, which point value would you like?
All right, let's go with 500.
500 in General Draft Trivia, trying to catch up in one fell swoop.
This is a mistake.
Spelled the last name of the running back drafted by the Los Angeles Chargers in the second round of the 2023 NFL Draft.
So the last name of the running back drafted by, H.
And I am so sorry. Our spell checker yet again messed things up in here. Joe, you are spelling the correct last name. You realize what I was trying to get you to spell, but they put the wrong team that drafted this player.
I was gonna say
it was the Seattle Seahawks that drafted this player, but I believe you were spelling the correct name.
Got you. Okay. CHARBONNET.
Despite our spell checker letting 3 mistakes through in this game, you have gotten that absolutely correct, JL. Zach Charbonnet going to the Seattle Seahawks, and there was a scream of pain from fantasy managers everywhere as he went behind Kenneth Walker, though I've seen some more hopeful takes afterwards, some Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt comparisons to that backfield. JL, do you have hope for Charbonnet behind Kenneth Walker there in Seattle?
I feel like the Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt compared, like that was like the best of a bad situation. Like no one was still happy there, even though that they were each being fantasy relevant enough. But I don't think any Nick Chubb managers or Kareem Hunt managers wouldn't wish that the other one was gone so that their player could have the bulk of the carries or opportunities here. I'm not as hopeful. I think Kenneth Walker will run this backfield, and we'll see if Charbonnet, can carve out some opportunities for himself.
And do you have more optimism for Charbonnet, or are you feeling similarly to JL?
I am feeling similarly. I think Kenneth Walker will be one of the few kind of lead dogs that really get the majority of snap count and touches. I think that's what they want Walker to be. And so Charbonnet will kind of just be like a backup and have relative low value unless of injury as a handcuff.
We got Dustin in here saying you should have heard the very loud "what the F" from Britt Flynn in the press room right as that draft pick went in. And I think she spoke for fantasy managers everywhere in that press room when that pick went through. JL, nice job spelling. You generally do a pretty good job with the spelling bee questions. And because of that is actually going to be our last question in this round. We're going to move into our final Jeopardy question with the game at 1,400 to 800 to 1,400. Your category for this last question is going to be NFL draft. Can you believe it?
No way.
You guys go ahead and write down your wager. I will add one other qualifier here, just so you know. This is a different type of Final Jeopardy question. Only one of you can get this one correct. This will be a winner takes all style Final Jeopardy. This will not be one where multiple people can get the points. So if that changes
scores again going into this?
Absolutely. You have 1,400. Joey has 800, and JL also has 1,400.
So if only one of us can get it right, okay.
Does that mean the other two will be losing points?
Does that mean
unless you wager nothing?
Say that again.
Unless you wager nothing.
Right.
Got it.
So it's a winner takes all betting strategy here, changing it up a little bit for this Final Jeopardy. Let's see. Let me know when you guys are ready. When you got your bids.
Ready. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go ahead and see them.
$7.99.
Joey with $7.99. JL with $101 from Dane. 1401. So I'll have to do some math here. I don't know about how that math works because I can't do it quickly. I think that would mean whoever gets this right is our winner, if I'm not mistaken. With Joey's bet, that would bring him up to $15.99. Here is your final question. How many running backs were drafted in the 2023 NFL draft? The closest answer will be the only one considered correct. So I need a number. If more than one person is exactly the same amount, you guys will both get it. That is the only way in which we'll have more points come through.
Is this like Price is Right? Am I allowed to go over?
You can go over. It's just closest. Yeah. Dun 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 dun.
I got mine.
I thought you were making fun of me for some reason, Joe. I thought you were just like mouthing words and mocking me in the corner.
I usually do that.
Let me know when you guys have your answers.
Got mine.
You write them down?
Yeah, if you can write it down or on your phone, wherever works. in the chat. Get your answers in. If you guys are watching along with us, we'll shout you out if you're right. We'll mock you if you are very wrong. But it's all in fun and playing. Let me know when you guys are done, and then we will reveal the final answer and determine the winner of today's game. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and reveal those answers. What'd you guys write? JL wrote 29.
18.
18 from Joey.
I wrote 12.
And 12 from Dane. Well, we had some answers in the chat as well. 14 from One Nation. Grim Fan with 17. Dustin with 18. Ladarius with 11. And Scott Fish with 259.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe not, JL. There's hope yet. Well, the number of people, and 22 from our friend Michael coming in here. The number of people, or the number of running backs that were drafted in the 2022 NFL draft was 18. Joey, exactly right, is going to pull out the victory at the last second with a final score of 1599 to 1399 to 1300.
I'll have to say, winning Jeopardy today was easy as 1, 2, 3.
Well, Dane, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out and play some Jeopardy with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'd love to come back anytime, guys. A lot of fun.
Okay, everybody watching, if you are not following the Spittin' Statistician over on Twitter already, make sure you go and follow him at Spittin' Speeds. That is Speeds with a Z, and check out his work over at FTM Bets as well. That is going to be it for us today, but great news. We will be back tomorrow and the next day, and the next day, and the day after that, every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time here on Better Sports Network and at our YouTube channel, Front Yard Fantasy. So make sure you come and hang out with us tomorrow. Until then, though, we are out of here. Adios, everybody. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging out. Another big thanks to Dane. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.